I've seen him.
That's great.
He's about, he's a baby.
Yeah,
We need this door open or? Yeah, okay, I'm just saying, if you need that open, so I'm gonna pull my. Yeah, then I can open the door. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm gonna be here too, but we'll, not be here every technical.
Well, there should be a lot more like that.
Yeah.
I tell
Worry about it now.
I
You
know.
got it, we're understanding experts.
Didn't tell me she ain't right, okay.
Well, it's really more this.
Okay, thanks. I'm working. I texted you. So I think this week.
It's, and it's very much. I don't think that-
What they said after. Yeah, you know. I don't think it's not enough. Because we can.
Somebody has to be here. I don't. Anyone? Like all the police stuff, so you can be like.
I don't know what it is. And that's due.
I got a car, I mean, that's slug it out of the water, so.
As long as I have.
Of course. Right, that's the problem.
I have, that's what exactly what it we need. How you doing?
Hello.
No, I mean, whatever you had, whatever you spot right here. So. I get, yeah. So
Not much.
Correct.
Right.
And I share it with records.
I was hoping.
No, I have not been over there. Where's my sorry. No, no.
Everybody, you're at 55 or 6:30, but he's out, Andrew's in Europe.
Yeah, I know, right? But,
I'm actually, couldn't get rid of it. I took vacation. Oh, I don't work.
Imagine that.
I filled out with a big thing. Yeah, I don't even know. It's not my bag.
All right.
Yes, John.
My stuff in my head.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
That
no problem.
was the one thing I
I'm
thought.
gonna get locked out when I go from here to there. So
Hey.
Yeah, I get it. Hold it wide. Wide.
Got it.
Okay, we'll start, please. Flag up.
Oh. Okay, that's fine.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce that 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Co-Star, and the New Co-Star on December the 7th of 2023. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the borough clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason the Zoom portion of this meeting fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue and action can and will be taken, providing that there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble? Here. Mr. Gubatose?
Here.
Ms. Mahoney? Here. Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Fox?
Here. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our 13th meeting of the year. Our acting borough administrator is on vacation. We're back on Monday. We'll continue to emphasize that different voices should be constructive, that we're all looking for a brighter Bradley Beach, and ask everyone to gauge their tone. Let's make civility and decency the underpinning of these discussions. So the first thing we're going to have, you have no workshops today, but we do have a very interesting presentation. I think it's the first in a series. I think we're having 2 police presentations, but today is the presentation number 1, as we can see. Who's the MC? Are you the?
No, I'm gonna, I can, introduce, these are 2 of our 3 canine officers. Patrolman Anthony Badalmente and Patrolman Andrew Redmond. So they have a nice presentation to just explaining our canines are, very beneficial to us and the community. I don't know what they're gonna say, so I don't want to take it away from them, but our officers are used all throughout the neighboring towns, the huge shared service that we have. So I'm just gonna turn it right over to them. Yep.
Are the canines here?
Yeah.
All right. You wanna?
Yes, if anybody's dog adverse, they'll announce before they come.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as the lieutenant said, it's for 2 or 3 of the 1 of us for the year tonight, but did anybody know that he had canines in town?
Yes.
Yes. So Anthony and I are both bomb canine. We're 2 of the only other bomb canine around here is Manitowoc. In the entire county besides the sheriff's. So we go every year. That's very hard. Next, we have sheriff service with Belmar, we do a lot.
The county maintains a list and they'll call us if he does have, he got called to bring over the hospital for bomb threat in the middle of the night last week. So we're busy, we're out there. The PowerPoint has a little bit of everything. There's obviously our dogs, the way we train, some of our equipment and how we use it. So you can, next slide. So we'll just go through the dogs. This is Sergeant Nathan's dog. He couldn't make it tonight, send his apologies, but this is Canine Liga. So as Andy explained, so we have bomb dogs, but dog can be either single purpose, meaning they only find odors, or dual purpose like Liga, where she has a odor function where she can detect things for specifically drugs, and a patrol function as well. So the patrol function, which you'll see in a little bit, but that's the tracking, hiding, and the apprehension, and building, clearing, and searching. So that's Canine Liga. She's been with us since 2021. I think she's from Kentucky. She's a Dutch Shepherd. She's about 6 years old. This is my dog. He's been with me on the road since 2021. So he's also a dual purpose dog. So he has that patrol function, but he, like Andy's dog, is a explosive detection dog. So We'll show you guys what we use to train them, but our explosive dogs will train in 22 different odors, and that ranges everything from what you would find, used to make a IED or a homemade explosive, all the way to commercial and military grade explosives in case they fall into the wrong hands.
This is Rico. He is the newest dog to our canine unit. If you haven't met him, I'm sure you've heard him. He's very mobile. We're working on that. I got him in December. He's a year and a half, and he's a Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix.
So this, we'll go back a little bit and just talk about the previous dogs in our unit. This was K9 Max. He started the unit with Sergeant Major in 2007, which we'll also get to in a second. They attended the Atlantic County Police K9 Academy, and he was our first K9 officer. He had a short career, unfortunately due to some medical issues, but he was very successful in his career. K9 Boss, this was Sergeant Major's second dog. He unfortunately passed away last year, but he's retired for a few years. Also, which we'll see in a second, had a tremendous career. He was on the road for 10 years protecting the town and the surrounding communities.
This is K9 Sting. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to K9 Sting this Memorial Day weekend due to cancer. He just retired at 10 years old. He had an amazing career. We'll get into that further, showing you what he's got off the streets and everything else.
So, brief history of police dogs in law enforcement in general, started in late 19th century in Belgium. They, obviously, working dogs been around forever for hundreds of years. But in Belgium, they realized that what they normally use these dogs to hunt with, they can use for police functions as well. So, in the early 1900s, the commissioner at the time of the NYPD sent one of their inspectors over to Belgium to inquire about that program. He brought back 5 dogs. They had, if you read, there's a couple books about it, if you read this. They had some okay success in New York. They were a little bit too aggressive, but Baltimore in the 50s kind of recaptured the idea of canine use in law enforcement, reinvented it, and then they kind of developed the structure of these units that we see today. So in the 70s, it was widely spread and widely used across the country, and so been doing that since. This is something near and dear to Bradley Beach. For those of you who don't know about this, this is a little bit of history that predates our unit. So in 1998, I think, there was a barricaded subject or a wanted person on Newark Avenue who barricaded himself in his apartment. He was wanted in connection with the killing of a state trooper. A dog from the sheriff's office came out solo. It was, I think, a 24-hour or longer standoff. Came out solo from the sheriff's office was sent in. He was fatally shot, and then, the standoff ended shortly after. 15 years later, the gentleman in the gray T-shirt there read this story, decided he didn't want this to ever happen again, wrote a couple children's books, and started a nonprofit. So he sells children's books and buys ballistic vests and trauma equipment for canine units, and we've been a recipient of one of those vests. Robbie got his vest at National Night Out 2 years ago.
Is there any residents that were here in 98 that remember that?
Yeah.
So that dog is now buried outside the Monmouth County Police Academy.
So sad story, but it came full circle in Bradley Beach with Robbie getting that vest.
So this is when I started in Bradley Beach as a class 1. I remember when Patrolman Major got K9 Max. Max was, I believe, just a patrol dog. Started with some burglaries and everything else. Probably one of Max's greatest apprehensions was someone tried to break into Shoreline Liquor here. And the subject came after now Sergeant Major with a pipe, to the point where Sergeant Major had to pull his gun and almost shoot the suspect, but he deployed K9 Max, and K9 Max apprehended the subject before anything else.
So yeah, but prior to our unit closest was Tin Falls, and it does take Tin Falls is farther or closer than 30 minutes, so it takes some time to get the dog ready and get over there. And it's actually kind of happening again. Belmar doesn't have a dog. Avon no longer has their unit. Spring Lake just retired their dog. Wall Township's only down to 1 dog, so we're
the only canine unit in here.
so it's happening again where we're needed. So this is K9 Max. Start with the quality of his images that were kind of passed down. He apprehended 2 people in Ocean Township regarding connections to burglaries. And once again, 2 more arrested for burglaries within our borough, Belmar, Avon. This is a bus from K9 Max boss, sorry. Next picture zooms in. So in those 2 bags is, I think, here, next slide, says it, 5,000 bags of heroin, $30,000 in US currency. So I believe we get some of that money as well. So, K9 boss and Sergeant Major Famous, this is a Supreme Court ruling State versus Dunbar, based on a case that took place within the borough utilizing the K9. It's actually a nationally used piece of case law to govern the way we use canines and the amount of time we can wait for a search.
They actually.
How that affected?
It's to our benefit. So they determined that you can delay or extend the stop to wait for a police canine.
They actually use that case law in the police academy to teach recruits.
Cool. So this was a recent job that Sergeant Major did with K9 LIGO, which resulted in 3 firearms, almost like a kilo of crystal meth, 5 kilograms of methamphetamine base, 4 kilograms of coke, 300 grams of fentanyl, 20,000 in cash, a Mercedes, a slingshot, and a pill press, and a kilo press. So this case is still, it's not done yet, so we can't really talk about the details. Eventually, we will get some seizure money for this for sure.
Was this all at one time? Was that all?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe it was a storage unit.
Yeah.
In a town very close to it. This is K9 Sting, again, he was on Working Dogs magazine, the cover. Little background about Sting, he's very famous, he was on Caesar Milan show, they flew him out to LA. He was donated to us, same as K9 Rico, by an organization out of Philadelphia called Throwaway Dogs. I know the name sounds terrible, but the reason why they call them throwaway dogs is it's the breed of dogs. People think these dogs are pets, they're not. They are very high energetic, there's no shut off switch. They're herding breed, they're barkers, they're just, energy is outrageous.
Is that an animal?
Yes, so the reason why she came up with the throwaway dog's name is people would get the dogs for Christmas for their kids, it's very mouthy, it's too much energetic, what do? They get rid of it to the pound. She goes to the pound, gets the dogs, rehabilitates them and donates them with no cost to all of these dogs.
Great.
Does anybody know how much a dog, canine dog costs with no training?
No training.
How much?
80.
About 9,000 to 10,000 with no training.
Just the dog.
Oh,
Just the turn, yeah.
no, I think the government pays about it.
Yeah, well, they're fully trained and everything else. So as we say, a green dog, just for us to go pick it up, $9,000. This lady donated both Sting and my dog Rico for no cost to the town. This is a firearm that Sting located in a vehicle, motor vehicle stop in Asbury Park. Over the winter, they called us, the subject threatened somebody in Asbury Park with this firearm, and they had information on it, but he would not give them consent to search the car. They called me, I utilized K9 Sting, he indicated on the car, they located the gun in the glove box.
It's one of the 7 illegal arms that we've recovered as units section.
And it's also hollow point bullets, which.
But there's some training videos, some of them are muted, it's filmed with the GoPro that we use for our training records. This specific video just simulates what we would call like a threatening aggressor or active assailant. So I'm the one getting bit in this video. I actually pay attention. She actually pissed me so hard I fall.
Could be you don't have it.
So. Yeah, you could leave it muted because this audio sucks, but I think if you did the space bar would play. This is Sergeant Major wearing the camera.
You could see the energy level in the drive, they're just.
Stay correctly, right?
Was that the longest 3 seconds?
It gets a lot easier as time goes on. The first few, it was pretty nerve wracking.
You have the whole suit or something?
We just, so we do a couple different things. We wear the big thick sleeve that you see, but we also, do some hidden sleeves and some wraps around your arm, so that ensures that the dog won't hesitate and get what you call footman fixation, where they get so used to biting that big bulky sleeve that that's falling apart.
And a funny saying is they call it dogs fur missiles.
Yeah.
Like,
How do you get him to wind down after that?
You don't.
You know, I mean, they know, you know, they're very intelligent, they pick up, whether it be the harness that we put on them when it's time to work, the leash, our command, our voice, the inflection in our voice, they kind of know what the game plan is, and when they're home, they're totally different animals, you bring them to work, they. So this is me getting to, again,
as soon as I put on the uniform, the dog knows we're going.
yeah. Similar, would be someone's plea who's a threat to the public that, we would probably need to send the, dog after.
And just to tell you how powerful these dogs' bites are, that sleeve is a gigantic canvas sleeve with padding. So, and you said it still hurts.
We go to the next slide. So this is what we would call the word popper bite, so, this would essentially simulate someone hurting someone else, where time is of the essence, and we need to deploy the dog from the car without us even getting out. So something else that we train. They know the drill. Well, and I think the next one might be probably. You have a safe word or something that they will come down? Yeah, so they have, part of the process of them getting certified to do this type of work is they have to out and they have to recall off the light. So it looks like they're these crazy aggressive dogs that are, the obedience that they have to have in order to get certified is pretty top notch. You'll see a couple outs from my dog in a little bit that are, instantaneous. They know the drill.
And like you said, they seem vicious and everything, but I have 5-year-old twin boys at home. My dog's around the kid.
So this video, essentially what we would simulate what's called a building search. So there's a bad guy in the house, we don't know which room he's in, all the doors are closed, so instead of us kicking doors in and putting ourselves in harm's way, the dog will actually alert on the door and bark and show us where the person is. You'll hear that in a second. She knew I was in there, and of course, once again, I get it. The dogs don't know the difference between a good person and a bad person. They think this is the game, right? They know that this is fun for them. They get to fight this cool thing and play tug of war. So you'll see us praise the dogs and say, good boy, good girl to the dog. So it's they don't really know what's going on. They just think we're playing.
Even when we give them a command to find, say, a gun or a bomb or drugs. All they think they're trying to get is a toy. That's it. That's how we train them.
We show you. There's a picture right
Yeah.
there. And so this simulates that, like I said, once again, a building search, like you said, as far as them winding down, you'll hear me give, it's a state mandated building search command that we have to give. You'll see his behavior change will start getting amped up. And then if you watch on the top right of the screen, you'll see Sergeant Major pops out of the room with his sleeve. Apprehends him.
This is the police, you're under arrest. I'm a trained police dog. Make yourself known and surrender. You do not comply, I will release my dog. He will find you. He will bite you.
Usually when they hear that.
So this video and the next video are from my initial training project, so. Some stuff you'll hear, Sergeant Major giving me some tips here in this one. This starts with a bite and then transitions into what we call handler protection, so you'll see without a command, as soon as Sergeant Major puts his hands on me, he'll actually go for it.
Good boy, but yes.
So that's another way we train, we call it the hidden sleeve. It doesn't look like, Sergeant Major wearing anything, but underneath it is actually canvas bags wrapped around his arm.
Bless.
The reason why we do a hidden sleeve is we see a lot of other canines that just do the regular sleeve exposed. When they don't see that sleeve, they don't bite. So we do the hidden sleeve to prevent the dog from not, when we want to bite someone, they're gonna bite.
And you'll see here, Sergeant Major's gonna put his hands on me. So that's something that, you know, we obviously think is important, you know, they're forced multipliers. We're unfortunately having to put our hands on someone we want, you know, back up, and they're very good at that.
Are they trained, so they only go for the arm, they'll never go for the leg or
Right,
anything?
so we're not trying to hurt anyone, so the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
point is just to apprehend. So Robbie's trained specifically, if he can get a trailing bite on the bottom of the arm, or if it's front facing, he'll go for the bicep, and that's it.
And as a handler, that is the first question everybody asks when they go to get bit is, your dog's gonna go for my arm, correct? Because you don't want, it's not feeling bad.
Otherwise, you need a lot more padding.
The vehicle extraction, so this is dead guy with arm, dead guy in the car, simulating that they don't want to get out, so we would use the dog to get a good grip on them and then pull them out of the leash. So. Very effective. So there's another building search training here. Believe it or not, so you'll see he struggles a little bit on the slippery floor. But that's a good thing, so this reasons police folks fill out of training programs for the environment. So dog that either won't work on a slippery floor or on an elevated surface, or there's too much noise. So we put the dogs purposely through things like this, so we know that no matter what situation we put them in, they'll work.
So this is the toys that we train, so when we give the dog a command, he thinks he's just trying to find that toy. So each toy is soaked in a scent, so it looks like C4, dynamite and deck cord. So to train the dog, you have to do 150 tosses per scent. So you have to sit there and toss and give the command 150 times per scent.
22 voters, yeah.
So my dog and his dog are trained on 22 odors down to fuses. We have them trained down to shell cases from fire. Yeah, so it's just the game for them. That's all they think they're trying to find when they get the command.
I think, yeah, so this slide, you'll see, sometimes they're definitely smarter than we are. We actually, so one of the things we do to train them is we hide the toy, obviously, and let them use their nose to find it. In this one, you'll hear Sergeant Major, we actually forgot where we put the toy, but he found it. So if you play that, you'll stay stop. Is an order ready? I actually don't even know where I put it.
When they say use an odor, we watch the behavior of the dog. You can see how his breathing changes, his head,
There it is.
usually their tail, see how his head just spun. We call that head spin. So the reason why we use canine dogs is, one, their lungs are 4 times bigger than humans. And their sense of smell is 40 times stronger than a human. So we didn't know where that toy was. He found it in the grass.
So this is some of the,
Can they smell this stuff like if somebody double wraps it in 2 layers of plastic bag or whatever?
yeah, I mean, it's to the point where, so we've, we've done trainings where we put a scent or an odor in a specific area, train for the day, leave, and then train in that location 2 months later, and just the residual odor they'll pick up on.
Really?
2 months later, you know, if it's an undisturbed area and it's not highway traffic, they'll still pick it up.
So when I bring my dog in, he might try to go right for that door right by. Because we use this for the train sometimes and we hide stuff in that closet. So it's probably been about a month, and when to bring your dog in here.
He did that exact thing right 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and we haven't been in here in a month, and the dog get on that.
Can you make them not search for something? Like, I'm thinking when the transitional weed became legal,
So.
can you now
Good question.
untrain them?
Yeah, so, believe it or not, canine riding is our only narcotics dog. if the decision was made when we got her to hold off on everything, so we can add odors, we can't take them away. Once they're trained, it's in their brain. So we made the decision to withhold that odor and the laws changed, so she's not even printed on it at all. And that is, or she's probably one of, if not the first dog in the state that was on the road that wasn't trained in marijuana. So
It's just so you know, too, you can't cross train. So our dogs are explosives, live as narcotics. So, and
They can't do it.
no,
Do you wear essentials? You wear like red eye or use True North or any of those?
No,
See how you're going.
with that.
No, I just see your, all the compartments on your belt.
Yeah, no, so we just wear, this is just an e-collar, and the door popper to open the door remotely, but, the NARC sensors and stuff. Our job, or I should say really specifically Sergeant Major's job, once they indicate on something, we don't really go farther than that, especially for us with explosive dogs. You know, we have numbers we can call for people who come deal with that stuff, and then for the narcotics, you know. The officer that stops that car initially and calls for the camera is the person that's gonna see that investigation first, and so they'll ultimately deal with that and test it. This is just some of what we do, within the borough, obviously our parades, the fireworks, the 5K, you'll see us out there a little bit earlier doing sweeps, for explosives. We get called into other towns, Belmar for their parades, their festivals, Asbury for their parades and festivals, the See Here Now Festival. We do frequent homeland security checks on our train station and our beachfront areas. And like I said before, we do, reactively respond to bomb threats throughout the county. The patrol functions that, I talked about before, the tracking of missing and wanted people, building searches of wanted people, and suspect apprehension, and then our scent work, which includes the sweeps, weapon searches, and narcotic searches. We, on a reactive, point of view, we can find firearms and shell cases. So I've been in Neptune quite a bit looking for shell cases, kind of few post, shooting incidents, and patrol remnants, got a couple firearms.
just to add a few things, we've also done stuff with DEA, FBI, US Marshals and everything else. And, does anybody know why we got canine dogs? What started it? Does everybody remember the Seaside bombing years ago, the 5K?
Yeah.
Okay, so when that happened, you had the 5K, you had Point Pleasant Seafood Festival, and you had the San Gennaro Festival in Belmar. Nobody had a bomb dog, shut down the entire East Coast. From Seaside to here, everybody was in panic, because no one knew what was going on. And that's what started, everybody started getting explosives.
So when you let dogs out to other towns, do they pay the department for that, or is it just like a favor? if
It's-
they send-
I guess one hand watches the other kind of thing. We have a shared services agreement with Belmar. Recently, we raised money, as you can see, for the Dodge Durango right here. That Durango came from no taxpayer money. My wife's company actually wrote us a $25,000 check to purchase the car. For that, Belmar provided us with a car for myself, and they maintained it.
So it's like a little barter.
Yes.
Correct, yeah. I mean, that's throughout law enforcement for any, not just canine stuff, but, mutual aid is something that every agency, goes through, so.
Dog out after you.
Correct, we go.
You go with
Yes,
them, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah, so, on the left there, that's a picture I drove to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to pick that kit up. That kit is $4,000, it was donated to us completely by Rocco's Pizza, so that kit contains all 22 odors that we train our explosives dogs with. It's a huge asset to us. Before that, we had to work with the Department of Corrections, the state police, and try to use their kits. But Rocco's was generous enough to write us a check, so shout out to them, because that's been a huge game changer for us. So the other things that we do, obviously, like we're doing tonight, is interact with the community and do some kind of, stuff to show our dogs and what we do. This is Jax there in the middle. He was 6, 7, right? He was diagnosed with a very, very, very bad illness. But he loved law enforcement, police dogs, patches, fire trucks. So we invited him to the police department last year, showed him the dogs, and then brought him into Avalon, and there's all sorts of apparatus and equipment from different agencies there for him. So this is the stuff we love doing. It definitely makes it all worth it. And then we also do demo for the rec center every year, set pictures from last week with that. So that's our contact info there. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it. Go ahead. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
About the $30,000 and all that heroin. Was that in town or was that like,
No, it was in a surrounding town.
Like maybe it's pass through, somebody pass it through.
So
You don't have to tell me.
Liga also, besides the heroin and everything else, she also, Sergeant Major really can't talk about because it was with the DEA and a lot of those guys are very undercover.
Mhm.
And let's face it, when someone gets caught with that much amount of narcotics, they flip, they rat on everything because they don't want to go to jail. So Liga also found a large amount of fentanyl that can kill over how many? A couple 100,000 people. She got fentanyl on the street. But I will tell you that it was a bordering town.
And that case is still ongoing, so.
Yeah.
But when that resolves, I'm sure we'll be able to say more about it.
A question, or maybe asking you guys to comment, but I had an opportunity to chat with you, a few of you about this, it's fascinating stories. I mean, what we're hearing tonight is the tip of the iceberg. But one thing that I, as a resident, I wasn't aware of is how much time you as individuals spend with these dogs. It's not like you punch in and you're with the dog and you punch out.
They're part of our family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything from the initial training, so, Sergeant Major with Max went through a full academy in 6 months. In order to not burden the department, the town, and, so we can continue the police services that we have every day. Our trainings, initial trainings that, the equivalent of academy we do on time off. So we come to work and then we go train after work, and it's typical and continues with our in-service, we do the same thing.
We do most of everything in our K-9 unit does not impact taxpayers at all. Between like our training kit got donated by Rocco's, we raise money for a car, we get the dogs donated, and we do everything else on our time.
And that was striking how much you
Yes.
donate of your own time.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a labor of love. I mean, we all,
it's a passion.
yeah, we're all very passionate about this. I don't think we would change it at all if we could, you get support from the town, support from you guys, so it's great.
How do you stop them from going after your guns, or they know it's yours?
They kind of know the game,
Like when you lock it up and on, they know where to say it.
yeah, I mean, we shoot a lot, so the guns smell like black powder all the time. My dog's never once tried to indicate on me. So I think they know just from training it so much that what we're looking for is not me.
Like when we give them the command, they know, okay, there's something else in this area that I haven't.
Also remember, when the other dog retired, do you have 2 dogs at home?
I did. Sting retired when I got Rico. I was going to use Sting Memorial Day. I actually have 3 dogs. So I have 2 now because Sting passed away. So I have my family dog, and then I have 2 working dogs plus my boys. So it was a lot. So,
Did you get any sleep? No.
Can you tell us what the safety word is? Just in case.
it's funny you say that because a lot of the commands are different languages, so people can't say out or stop, and then the dog just stops. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll bring, let me on this side here. Like I said, he's very young, he's very energetic,
You know, that's interesting.
very friendly. He just barks.
Good job.
It's a chance for you, yeah, room just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sleep.
Who takes care of your girl when you go on vacation?
It depends, we can ask each other,
Oh,
really, in Millstone, that's what I bring my dog to there, they have like a couple hundred police dogs that they're.
So this is Rico. He's only a year and a half old. And as you can tell, he's very, very friendly, and he just wants to say hi to everybody.
that spot, yeah.
Good job, her.
He's gonna go get a toy. I'll walk him past that door to see if he indicates So when they indicate, they sit. And they look at you like, hey, it's right.
Are you gonna let any of us put the sleeve on?
I'm not trained in fire. So, I don't even know if we have this. Even, they know what's going on. So, I won't even give them the command. Like I said, very.
Okay, okay. Hopefully about it.
I just like drove to the mic.
It's right here now. What's that?
Yeah, we sit in the
Oh.
Yeah, we shove his nose there.
Yeah.
He knows he has it for. So we won't give it to him until he indicates on it. But he's looking around, 'cause he knows. See how they won't come off and see how he's looking at the door. Maybe look better now. You see how they just won't, you smell all the seeds that he won't. Yeah, this is the. That's all he thinks he's doing, is, looking for that. Well, that would be an indication of him. Hey, you see how he's sniffing, and he's looking at us like, hey, something's right here, something's right here.
Yeah, and the indication isn't always as pretty as you would think, or sit or lay down. We know our dogs, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you saw that outside, or if I saw that, something.
Yeah. And then all they do is just want to play color. Yeah, we've got. Any other questions?
They're not volunteer in, yes, yeah, so, are they spayed and neutered or neutered, or do you breed them for later, later litters to,
We don't bring them, but we keep the tag on. Yeah. Yes. You just have to watch this way. They get their. Yeah. But that's it, he tries to find it and then we play a game on it. Yeah. So he actually came from Dutch, I have all his paperwork, they flew him over here, he came from a breeder in Connecticut. Yeah.
and are they all?
Live as a team. Yeah. Yes, I can actually show you pictures, he's not in the house yet because they have to earn to get in the house, he actually lives in my garage, but he's coming in the house every now and then. But it's just, you can see, like, there's no shovel, they should not, they're like this, as soon as they wake up in the morning until they go to sleep.
How do you do along with family?
Guys, they're fine. Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your commitment on this. It's great.
Karen.
Did the Zoom people see any of that, or should I think that's a?
So.
Yeah, they should
There's no way the owl would pick up that sound all around the room.
Looking at the keys, we got to look at that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
My secret's out. I agree with all of you, not exactly, but.
All right, the rest of the meeting's fairly boring compared to that, so let's, try to improve here. Okay, the next agenda item is approval of minutes. Make the motion to approve the June 26, 2024 council business committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes, approval of minutes for June 26, 2024 executive session minutes. Make a motion to approve.
Second. Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Next item number 8, public comments pertaining to 7:10 agenda. Items only 5-minute limit, single instance. Any comments on agenda? Yes.
I would just like to thank the council for picking up the sign issue tonight. I understand it was supposed to be taken up in January and how important it is for me and my small business to get this resolved.
You need to say your name and address, sorry.
Sorry. My name is Green Van Buren. My address is 117 Asbury Avenue, Brookfield.
Sorry.
I just appreciate the council picking it up, and I want to remind everybody how important it is to my small business and how important I think my small business is to this town. And leave it at that.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thanks for your comment.
Julie United 605 North Avenue. I noticed the introduction to the budget is on the agenda. Has the council been given access to the CFO yet to answer your questions?
No.
But then I implore the council to vote down the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Nancy Meadows, Mark condominiums, regarding the extension of the signage and the Indians Cafe. I'm concerned about the language towards the end of it. It is my opinion that this extension often applied to her while she owns that business. And only to her while she owns that business, when she were to sell that business. Signage issue should be put up for another discussion or terminated. Same way if she were to open a different business there, I would say it would be kind to let that apply to her, and there are different name in the application for business. So I would like to see that language tightened up to cover those things that I think would be proven for gravity check.
Thank you. Yes.
Regarding Route 12, Friendly Avenue, I would like the council to vote down the introduction of the budget also because our audit is not back to 23, and since 22 was such a difficult budget, audit to digest, I think we need to see that first. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Mia Mullins, 24th Avenue. I would ask that you vote down the budget as well, but I asked a question. How are we ever going to get a budget approved if council doesn't have access to the CFO? Is this just gonna happen week after week? I mean, I have neighbors and friends in the community that have no idea what's going on. And we all got tax bills this week and everybody's scratching their head and says things like, again, the borough, they blame the borough for us having to lay out money for unknown taxes, and nobody really understands it. So I asked the mayor, why can't council have access to the CFO? Do you want to keep doing this from day to day with your head down? When are you going to allow council to participate in the process? That's the legal process. Every other town does it. Why is this town so different? Why does one man make a ruling against the residents and taxpayers in the town? How can people vote for something that they have questions about? I ask you point blank, what do you expect? How do you expect this to be resolved?
Hopefully we'll get a favorable vote.
Are you going to appoint a dollar amount for our taxes without anybody else approving it? This is not a dictatorship. I'll stand here for my 5 minutes and because you don't want me to be here for 5 minutes. I represent my neighbors, the taxpayers. It is so frustrating that we do this week after week, well, every 2 weeks, but day after day, you have a responsibility to get us a budget, just like every other mayor does in every other town. Why are you so different? I'd really like for you to relay that to the community. There's only 6 people here, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that are scratching their heads because they got tax bills this week.
Yeah, they received estimated tax bills.
What is?
That means that we don't have a finalized budget, so we estimate.
Why is that? Because the council doesn't have access to the CFO. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, not one person makes this decision
Makes what decision?
to approve the budget, the vote on the budget. Do you hear?
Be careful.
No, don't tell me to be careful. I'm speaking for the people that want to know what their costs are. We have to make plans, our own financial plans for the remainder. We all are on budgets, not just you.
The estimated taxes are fairly close to the bills you'll get.
Council has no idea. What do I say to my neighbors who say, you go to the council meetings, what's going on with the council? It's not the council. They don't have access to the CFO. I'm standing here for 5 minutes. I don't care.
We didn't have, access to the department heads either.
Department heads, anybody who makes decisions on numbers,
And you,
besides you.
and the residents didn't have access to, normally you'd have a meeting in the public and meet with the department head, and you would be invited too.
Right.
And us.
We did that at this point last year. We are so far behind because we're living under a dictatorship. This is a community that we all own, not just one man. Why, can you just say, why is it? Is there a legal reason? Is there something in the statute? Is there something in the government? Do I need to go to government school to learn about why it is that council doesn't have to have access to the CFO? Am I missing something here?
Yeah, you are
Because I
missing.
didn't go to government school?
You are missing something. The council had access to the CFO. They were invited to meet with the CFO on the 3rd of April and they declined. A week later, we had a introduction meeting. The CFO attended. They asked if questions were there and the council wanted to meet with the CFO privately. CFO declined. I'm not the, excuse me, I'm talking to this resident.
I need support though, because this is crazy, with 12 people in this room.
You need support.
So people need to know. I don't,
Trying
I'm
to-
thinking, am I not asking the right
I'm
questions?
trying to explain.
I'm listening.
So as I said, the CFO has declined. It's not a question of me providing access or me approving access. CFO has made that decision that I provided the opportunity to meet twice. He happened to meet with you when we do the budget introduction, which would be, the process is you introduce the budget, you approve the introduction, you wait 28 days to have the public review it in detail. And then at the end of 28 days, there's a budget hearing that everybody can attend and ask questions, and he's more than happy to attend that meeting.
But we won't meet with the council. Was he appointed by you or was he council approved?
We all approved.
We all approved, okay.
And the mayor's not being completely thorough in his response because the budget was originally provided to us in detail on March 27th. We were offered to meet with the CFO broadly, not privately, broadly with, our residents. We were told we couldn't talk to the CFO. We had to put our questions in writing. I personally put together like 120 questions because on almost every line item. I didn't want to cover it. And I was very clear. First of all, massive questions with the March 27th budget. Numbers didn't add up, totals didn't tie. And we brought this all to their attention. It's almost like, what can we do with this? The numbers don't make sense.
And can I just add that that's why we chose not to come to the April 3rd meeting with the mayor.
We didn't-
It wasn't even adding up. What's the sense of having a meeting?
We didn't want
And
to.
it's a meeting in this forum. You're not talking about
No,
a
the workshop.
meeting. It's in a
It's-
small
it's a
conference room.
public
where you
workshop.
can-
There was a
It's
public
here,
budget
here.
workshop that we didn't want to come to because the
Because-
numbers that we were given were not complete and didn't add up.
And we said we could resolve 80% of them with a conversation, but we didn't want to take our residents through 2 or 3 hours of questions.
You're in office because we trust you to do your job. I don't want to get into the numbers. I want to know that you're getting into the numbers.
Okay, thank you. You're talking.
We're gonna do this again in 2 weeks.
Yes,
Don Greenberg, 302 Park Place. So one of the things that caught my attention was, Mr. Mayor, you said that the CFO now refuses to meet with the council.
I said the CFO will meet with the council at the budget adoption meeting.
Yeah, but you said he refuses to meet with them privately. You just said, I mean.
He declined to, he has declined to meet with them privately.
He works for us. You could tell him to meet with them. Or fire his ass, pardon my French. But how does he tell you what to do when he works for us? You want to explain that to me?
Not really, no.
Why not? Are you afraid to do your job and tell somebody who works for us that he has to meet with the council? I don't get that. We pay you to do your job. Do your job. Order the CFO who works for us to meet with the council. I mean, what's so hard to understand about that? That was a question. I'm expecting an answer.
2 hours, I think.
I can stand here and stare at you too, but I'm waiting for an answer as why you won't tell the CFO to meet with the council in private so they can resolve this issue. What are you hiding?
We're not hiding anything, please.
Well, then why don't you do your
make
job?
that- Please don't make that inference that we're hiding.
No, I asked a question.
No, you didn't ask a question.
Yeah, I said, what are you hiding? That's a question. You might have seen the question mark at the end of it. What are you hiding is a question.
We're not hiding anything.
Well, then why won't you tell the CFO to meet with the council? He works for us.
The CFO has answered
That's
approximately.
not what I'm asking you.
The
I'm asking you,
CFO,
why won't you tell him to meet with the council in private, as they have requested innumerable times? Go ahead, you can answer. I'll be quiet. Why won't you tell him to meet with them?
And we can do it.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can do it in public.
What's that?
I mean, we just need a couple hours, it'd be great. and-
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the big deal about having the guy meet with a couple hours? Meet with him for a couple hours,
We could do it.
you know? I know he only works a certain, what, like 10 hours a week or something? Pay the guy overtime. Be money well spent. Better than spending money on a labor attorney who doesn't do anything. When, what's the status of that, by the way? What's the status of the negotiations with the employees of the town?
you have comments on the agenda?
Oh, is that one's not on the agenda?
No.
Yeah, well, then let's go back to the, why won't the CFO meet with the council? That's on the agenda.
I think I stated it already.
No, you haven't answered the question, why you won't tell the CFO to meet with the council as an employee of the town. You have that authority. I'm wondering why you won't use it. Just waiting.
Council President DeNoble just asked me, is there anything we can do? And the answer is, you're seeing what we've been dealing with for over 3 months.
Could we file a complaint in the DCA on this issue?
DCA has no authority to come in and force the mayor to allow us to speak with the CFO. All they can do is fine the individual council members.
They're on their way.
Force the mayor.
They can't force you to let us sit down with the CFO. I presume you know that.
I hadn't even thought about it.
Is there a state authority that can come in and help resolve this situation?
They're gonna come in and fine us for not.
I mean, other than fine, that doesn't resolve the situation. So there's no state process when you reach an impasse like this, or a state agency that can help come in and mediate it.
Mr. Cannon might know that, but the rest of us
I
don't.
mean, in extreme cases, the comptroller comes.
So can we request that?
That's all, that's their decision. And things would have to be, like payroll would have to be off, they would have to be significantly affecting the operations and health and safety of the firm. So I don't want to give you the impression that.
Well, that's not happening, obviously.
Right,
Yeah.
that's,
But they can't come in and just help resolve what I see as a political impasse.
they literally do not answer political questions. They do the points.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tiny.
Herb Penny, 216 Bridgeland Avenue, also have to do with the budget. Mayor Fox, can you please tell us who wrote that letter that was sent with our estimated taxes? There's no name on it, it's just a letter, just explaining, you know, who to contact, who not to contact. I'm just interested, because, you know, last year I had sent you an email in one of your newsletters that, you grossly underestimated the, tax amount because you didn't do the math correctly by saying we had a 1.132 tax increase. You said you were gonna correct it, you did, but there's a big error in this letter too. So I just want to know who wrote it. Was it you, the CFO, the DA? Somebody wrote it.
It's a combination of all those people.
So all of you. So there's one line underlined in that letter. You know what line that is? Okay, I'll tell you. You said our taxes went down. Our tax rate went down. Underlined. It's a lie. Our tax rate is not going down municipal. It's not. You stood here, it's 3 point, whatever your magical number is. But in that
Tax
letter,
rate, the rate.
it's the mill rate going down.
Yes,
That's not the tax rate. The tax rate, what was the 13.2% last year? Was that the tax rate? No. What is it?
that's just the percent increase on a municipal tax. The tax rate,
That's the tax, what the tax,
the tax rate is something different. The tax rate has to do with the appreciated value of our community over the spend, and that rate has been coming down.
goes down, but our taxes go it's exponentially high.
Your assessment goes up,
Right,
so the tax rate has to come down. Because otherwise you'd be paying triple rather than double than you did
okay.
10 years
So
ago.
why would we underline this in the letter so people now believe that instead of a 13.2% tax rate like we had last year, people now think our taxes are going down?
Our tax, he's proposing a 3.74 increase in the
Right.
taxes.
But that wasn't in the letter.
Right, no.
No, remember, it's for
Right.
some reason that didn't
The
make.
tax rate goes down because your assessment went up. But you're still paying more. You're gonna get,
But
right,
the
so if
implication in that
your
letter,
assessment
like
went
in
up,
the newsletter last year,
right.
is we're gonna pay substantially less than what the letter is.
I think your tax assessment went up probably 8% this year, if I'm correct, about that much.
Just under, yeah.
And that went, and the tax rate went down, but realistically, you're going to pay probably around 4%.
I understand it, but that's not how the letter. you know,
Right, it was
To the
very,
common
very,
person reading this, it makes it, everyone believes
Yes.
that their taxes are
it
going
was
down.
deceitful,
Okay,
definitely.
thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yes.
I'm Stephen Deland, 612 Third Avenue. I'd like to advise you again not to approve the budget tonight. I'd like to follow because this whole thing is a scam and the letter really shows that it is. Now, I'm gonna follow up on what Mr. Kenny just said because he's on something. So I looked at the mayor underlines the one line and which is a 3.4% decrease from the 2023 certified tax rate. To Councilwoman DeNoble's point, the assessments went up $162 million. Okay, that was said by Mr. Gartz in here. That is the number. So if we apply that number to the tax rate that you give us here, 0.912 in your letter, that number is 1,477,440 that our taxes are going up. Now I'll take the other thing. I'll take your municipal number. You say the municipal is 40.08 of the full amount. That means the raise in the assessments, even though you lowered the tax rate, that means the municipal increase is 590,976. But for you to underline that is so devious. Because a regular person who's not gonna take the time to break down the document, doesn't have the ability, has to work 60 hours a week to pay their tax bill, they don't have time to do this. Also, on this letter, there's no letterhead. Like you do a hiring memo, you have a thing on here, and it says, it's got a letterhead, Borough Bradley Beach, from Mayor Fox, Sean Heater, the beach manager. So
who wrote this? It should have a letterhead. It should say from Mayor Fox, the assessor, the collector, whoever that is. The people who wrote this, but it must be your team who writes something that is absurd and misleads people. That's what you're doing. And I'm gonna tell you something, Mayor. Be careful.
Yes.
Brigitte McGuire, 610 Brinley Ave. I'm urging the council to continue voting down the budget, the introduction. I'm majorly concerned about our finances, but I'm more concerned that you just threatened a resident in here and told her to be careful. And if there's no other way to get you out of that seat, it should be because you just threatened a resident. Why would you tell somebody to be careful on how they're talking about their tax dollars? Why did you tell her to be careful?
Just asking for some civility and
You didn't. You told her to be careful. You didn't ask for civility. You told her to be careful. Why would you talk to a resident that way?
What did you mean by be careful?
Hard to answer, isn't it? Because it was so wrong to do, but you can never, ever take responsibility for that. It was terrible what you just did. And you can't take responsibility for it. It's uncomfortable for all of us. I urge everybody to call the comptroller's office. I've called them again. Last week I spoke to the gentleman there. He's very kind. He takes the calls. He's very compassionate about what the Borough of Bradley Beach is going through. He remembered my name. He remembered what I've sent in. He told me he has sent everything I've sent to the proper departments. He told me to just keep calling, keep telling everybody to call and vote Larry Fox out in November. That's what he told me. However, I did come back at him and told him it's not a solution. It's not a solution. Because if Larry Fox runs again and gets in by some craziness, we shouldn't be told to just vote him out again in 4 years. We need people calling all these state agencies to protect the New Jersey residents of Bradley Beach. That's what they're there for. So please, I just urge all residents to call and call and call. I'll post the numbers again as soon as I can. Regarding contacting the comptroller's office for them to get in here, and we need like major issues like Mr. Cannon just said with payroll. I want to remind everybody that a couple of years ago, when our former BA Kim Humphrey sat up here fighting the 2022 budget, I think it was, that the $300,000 that the council kept voting down the budget for, one of the reasons at first was that we had beach employees that were owed back pay of overtime from several years prior to that. So, and the last time I asked about it, it couldn't be discussed. It was still being, I don't know, it was in litigation. I don't know what the process has been. But we do have a huge payroll issue here. And mind you, I believe it was that same meeting that Mr. Cohen, I think, mentioned about dipping into the beach fund for paying employees and so forth, that the tax dollars and the beach fund cannot be commingled. Ms. Humphrey sat here and said, yeah, that has been happening and it's a problem and it shouldn't be done. And at our last meeting 2 weeks ago, our mayor pretty much said our tax dollars and the beach fund is to be commingled. And we all sat here going, no, the fund, one has nothing to do with the other. I posted the clip, okay? You always say, go back to the tape. We'll go back to the tape, Mr. Mayor, or should I be careful? Should I be careful? So I want everyone to realize we have very huge issues to go to the comptroller with, and payroll is one of them. So please make it a point to mention that. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll move to the next agenda.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. Have we settled that payroll issue with the employees?
I think, I do believe there's something in litigation right now, so.
Oh, all right, so it's in litigation.
And then when do we expect the 2023 audit? Because I know the last time I spoke to you, you told me in June,
I know it's being worked on right now.
but that's what you told me in June.
Right.
And you told me we'd have it in a couple of weeks. And that was in May, and then we went into June, and now we're in July. So
I will have to talk to Mr. Oliver and see what his date is. It's dependent on Mr. Oliver and Mr. Pip Guards.
A few months ago, Mr. Oliver told me it would be August, so I don't know where we got the June number from.
okay.
Okay, next agenda item is ordinances, introduction of ordinance 2024-8. An ordinance amending chapter 5 administration of the borough's revised general ordinance to provide public comments and questions during the council meetings.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-8. Do I have a second?
Second,
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
yes.
Sorry, I went out of order. Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox? Sorry about that.
I'm gonna vote no. I don't think it goes, I think we're not going far enough to manage the time of meetings, so I will vote no. Under adoptions, ordinance 2024-7, an ordinance amending chapter 396 stormwater management of the borough's revised general ordinances to revise the borough's stormwater recommendations from Monmouth, per the recommendations of Monmouth County Planning Board. I will make a motion to open a public hearing on ordinance number 2024-7. Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Any public comments on 2024-7? There are no public comments. I'll make a motion to close the public comments and adopt ordinance 2024-7.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes, communications, we have one communication on seasonal beach, seasonal beach employees. It's in the record. Resolutions, we have one consent agenda item, that's 2024-152, approval of lien redemption for 600 Ocean Park Avenue in the amount of $4,778.97. Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Individual resolutions, 2024-86. I want to make a motion to move that to the end of the agenda after the executive session. Do I have a second to that motion?
Why are we doing this at the end?
Well, number one, I want to have a discussion that I had emailed you on a contractual issue. Have that conversation, and if you care to vote the same way, that's fine, but I wanted to at least give the opportunity to have that contractual conversation.
I'll second the motion, although my concern and the reason I sat here silently for the last 30 seconds is my concern is you will all leave while we're in executive session. And I would like you to be able, and you folks on Zoom, to hear the conversation we're going to have regarding the budget. But the mayor did just a few hours ago, as usual, right before our meetings, give us an update that there is a contractual issue that is tangentially related to the budget discussion. So I would have liked a lot more notice and more of an opportunity to discuss this, but that's why I'm seconding the motion. Got a second?
Greg, are we allowed to add this to the executive session?
No, we're just, the mayor motioned to do this later
Oh,
after the
okay.
executive session and I'll
But
just
can
second it.
I understand that, but can we discuss anything? It's not on the,
We're not going
Agenda.
into executive session to discuss the budget. That's not permissible. But
Yeah,
you
we're not
can
gonna-
vote on the introduction of the budget resolution whenever you like.
Yep.
Now, later.
I guess, Greg, it is related, though. I think what council president is asking is, the mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the mayor wants to discuss a contractual issue that's not on the current agenda. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor.
Right, in executive session.
Did you read the email that you were sent around 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
No,
Okay.
So
I had another meeting before this one.
Oh, you did, okay.
I can do that, right?
Yeah, take a look at the email and let me know if we can add this to the.
Why don't you
executive
guys
session.
table that for the moment and then we'll come back to it at the end?
Okay, 2024-153, bringing back in time cafe signage within Riley Park for 2024. Make a motion to approve 2024-153.
I just have a quick question about this. So it's the sandwich board.
Yep.
Is that what we're voting on?
Right.
Is there any other signage with this or just the sandwich board?
Just the sandwich board.
Okay.
same thing as before last.
Same that we've
Perfect, okay.
approved in 2022, 2023.
And I have questions as well, Mr. Mayor. And I'm glad the proprietor is still here. So we passed a sign ordinance a few years back. We put a lot of time and energy into it. And we made an exception for this sign. We spent a ton of time and energy on this sign. And the sign has been where it's supposed to be and it's been all good. And this resolution is good. But in the park, signs on like metal stakes appeared in the park where they're not supposed to appear against our ordinance. Advertising your business a couple of months ago. So
Those signs went up during the festivals that we had in Riley Park. Because I was sharing my parking lot with the borough and the vendors, so in an effort to let my customers know that I was still open that day. That's when those signs went up, it was a temporary,
but they stayed up for a couple of weeks. They weren't just there for this festival, which so. if-
my apologies.
Then if that, okay, as long as that, you're cognizant of that, and that is, there's also signs out, I guess they're Neptune, but they're out on Memorial corner of Lorraine
Well, we had
Boulevard.
a lot of festivals in the park, and I
Okay,
trying to work with the borough and share access to Riley Park and my parking lot and the police
gotcha,
in an effort to keep my business running, let people know I'm still there, and there's people everywhere.
sure. So if those signs were supposed to be temporary and the one in the park was dealt with, if the other ones were meant to be temporary as well, the ones out the corner of the, on the Memorial, can they be taken in because if they're supposed to be temporary
They
too?
can.
They just didn't, okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
The motion to approve 2024-153.
Second,
Mr. Noble?
yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
My comment is only that I recall going through this a few years ago. And I thought you did a really good job trying to work with the council. I'd like to think the council tried also to work collaboratively. Not every solution is perfect, but I think where we ended up was a pretty good compromise and I fully support continuing to move forward with that. So thank you. And I vote yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2024-154, adopting a technology practice policy in compliance with Cyber Joint Insurance Company Cyber Risk Management Program Intermediate Security Group Standards. Make a motion to approve 2024-154.
Yes, second. Sorry. Did you hear me?
Mr. Noble?
Yeah.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Do we have the answer to this other question?
It's regarding the edited email?
Did you read it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can't, that's not the same personnel issue that's listed in the executive session. We can't just add it the last minute. As Mr. Cohen, and has a court order in that regard, is pointing out from the front row to the record. So, we'll have to deal with that next time. I'm not sure, honestly, I just read through that. I'm not sure how it materially changes anyone's position that was stated earlier in any event. But we have to wait till next time because that's the rules. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you want me to make a motion?
No, I'm gonna make a motion to table 2024-86.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
No,
Table.
you don't want to,
You won't table it.
no? Well, I just thought we'd vote on it, no?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll table it. What, are you a yes or a no?
We-
I'm not, I don't know, I didn't think about tabling it.
Why would we fail it?
Well, listen, I second it.
You said, just gotta vote.
Okay, all right.
I would say no.
Yeah.
That's no. Okay. Mr. Gubatose,
Oh, yes, table.
Ms. Mahoney,
No,
Mr. Weber,
The table, yes.
Mayor Fox.
Yes. Okay, public comments.
Actually, it's
Not
Mayor.
public comments, mayor and council
Yeah.
reports, I'm sorry.
No problem.
So. I'll start. First, 4th of July week, last week, and I emphasize week, we had a very festive week. We started on Wednesday with the 63rd Army National Guard Band playing at Riley Park. We had hundreds of residents there. It was great. They provided great music and kind of a broad spectrum, and they did a great job. That was followed by Friday fireworks, which were spectacular. We had thousands of people in town, a great show. Saturday, we had a Farm Fresh event, which was really an open fair in Riley Park, another home run. And later, Kenny K and the Way started our summer concert series, which continues next weekend. We also have the Songwriters in the Park that's also begun. So we're really, we are into the summer season, and we have a tremendous amount of visitors and tourists coming in, which is great. Next Saturday, Pat Roddy will be the concert. I think most people in this room know that bid packages for sale 317, 319 Lorraine Avenue were out, and notices are in progress, and the auction is set for July 25th here at the Council Chamber. We continue to focus on the community improvements. Fifth Avenue paving curbing is completed. The CME is working on some Main Street options for us, basis the recommendation of the group. We're still working through a number of other grants like unused asset promenade. Sylvan Lake still has not, we've got to get some traction on that, in that we met with the Avon team and the team working on a broader dredging grant, but we haven't gotten any specs or concepts together on Sylvan Lake. That needs to begin to start. And that's it for some of our community improvements. I did want to mention, I've had a couple of discussions with Bob Napoli, and Councilman Gubatose may cover this. I'm just going to cover it in very broad terms. The fire company is discussing a commemoration of the Brindley fire in 1980. It was a very significant event in Bradley Beach where 24 residents perished. There's a lot of, I guess, discussion by the fire company, and I think they've talked to the other mutual aid groups to potentially commemorate that. I think they're going to come back with a plan, and we'll see more to follow on that. That is my report. Just the other thing is on recreation and library, I would just ask you to check the website for those. There's a ton of things going in both recreation and the library. Recreation's in full blast with summer camp with 96 students. But the amount of programs the library is offering right now is it's really too many to, well, I can just go through, I won't describe them, but it's summer reading, ESL, the weekly programs for kids, senior law day, which was very interesting, 1,000 book celebration, Sounds of Summer, and a community scavenger hunt. So they've got a lot more. So I will turn to Councilman Weber.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to start off by just saying a longtime resident of the borough, Ed Chicky, passed away. They moved out of town a few years ago. His wife, Joan Chicky, was really involved in the library. Ed was really instrumental in supporting and promoting our former mayor, Julie Schreck, and it was sad to see Ed pass kind of suddenly last week. I want to apologize to our resident, Nia Mullen, who was told to be careful. Nobody should ever be spoken to that way at a council meeting, so I don't even know if you are still here, okay? So, sorry you have to endure that. Quick feel-good story, on July 5th, we had great fireworks, obviously, but right before the fireworks started, I was heading down there myself, And I found out that a friend of a friend is in a wheelchair, which was not the case before. And they asked about one of those big wheelie beach wheelchairs, so I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I called the beach manager, Sean Heater, he told me where it is, I knew where it is, but Sean wasn't around, so. And he said there should be an officer there, what do you know, Officer Bobby Mete was right there, and he said, I'll get it out for you, just give me a minute. He brought it out, brought it over to this person to transfer them from one chair to the other. The members of the fire department helped, members of first aid helped, so I felt like so many different people in departments touched this, just this one person getting into a chair and getting into the beach wheelchair was really great. And then the reverse happened after the fireworks were over. So the fireworks were great in between. So really, thanks to everybody that helped with that. That was really great. Just for one person who doesn't live in town, but they said they bought a beach bag, so they're really looking forward to it. Now they know that this thing works and they're gonna get into it and use it this summer. And just actually a question about Fletcher Lake for they are wanting to do the geese control contract. And so, Mr. Mayor, are they free to talk to Neptune and kind of roll the ball, get the ball going on that? Good. Because just like at Sylvan Lake, they would like to split the cost with the neighboring town on the, I guess it's called Galaxy Geese, and they're getting good results in Sylvan, so Fletcher wants the same. All right, first aid, for the operational period ending today, the squad responded to 2 day calls and 11 night calls. 10 were for medical, 3 were fire calls. There are 3 water rescue requests from the Answers team. 3 motor vehicle crashes. The squad provided medical coverage and watched for the Bradley Beach fireworks. And the squad provided mutual aid to Allenhurst First Aid for their fireworks display on the 7th. The squad welcomes their newest member, Kevin Sarr and Alexis Thomas. They will be attending the emergency medical responder course on the 15th of the month. The squad requested no mutual aid for this operational period, and they fulfilled 100% of their assignments. Of course, they're always looking for volunteers. They will provide training. Info is on the borough website. And then for the fire department, this would be the monthly report for ending June 30th. They responded to 6 day calls, 6 night calls. 7 were for fire alarm activations, 2 were for carbon monoxide alarm activations. 1 was for a lake rescue. I didn't hear about the lake rescue, but maybe I'll read about it in CoStar. And 1 was for natural gas line rupture. The department conducted 1 training for roof cutting and saw operations. They participated in 1 fundraising event in the borough and 1 social event at the Spring Lake Fire Department. There were no mutual aid requests. Fire department fulfilled 100% of their assignments for that operational period. And same as first aid, they're looking for volunteers. They will train you, and you can inquire through the borough's website. And I believe that is the extent of my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Mahoney.
Thanks. I'm gonna address the budget because we've had a lot of talk about it tonight. At our last meeting, this council expressed concerns regarding the answers to the pared down questions we received from the finance team regarding the budget. These concerns are in keeping with those that have endured throughout this budget process. However, in an act of concession and collaboration, this council put together 13 questions in hopes of getting some access to the CFO. Instead of access to the CFO, we were given a document with vague answers and were directed back to spreadsheets, PDFs, statements, and workbooks that were sent out in various iterations throughout the budget process. It was then up to the council to find the answers to their questions. A circular, if not absurd process indeed. One of those spreadsheets we were asked to reference to find answers was a March 27th document called Budget Prep. A document that featured 2 tabs, budget and revenue. The budget tab had information. The revenue tab was blank. For weeks, this council asked for the line information for the revenue tab, but we never received it. However, we did have the information for the budget tab. So I'd like to do a little exercise. Remember, multiple times we were asked to use this spreadsheet to find our own answers. If you'd like to take out your phone or calculator. I know, I'm sorry, you're using it. So, okay, the town's budget is made up of 3 funds, the beach utility, which just to clarify, is not paid for with taxes, the sewer utility, and the current fund. These are made up of hundreds of line items, salaries and wages, other expenses, but they aggregate to one number. So the current fund. This number comes from the state PDF document that we've been asked to find our answers. For the current fund for 2024, $11,073,306. For the sewer for 2024, $2,125,000. For the beach budget, 2024, $2,635,000. And we get a total?
15,833,306.
Fabulous, thank you. The admin recommended budget for 2024 for the spreadsheet we are supposed to use comes to $16,055,417.
Say that again, 16 million.
$16,055,417. That's off by 22,000. Damn, you're good. That's basically 2% of our taxes. This is why we need to speak to the CFO, because our numbers simply don't add up. The information we have is incorrect, and we are being sent to look for our own answers on spreadsheets that do not correlate using very, very simple mathematics.
Thank you.
Dr. Thomas?
I have an update for the June 20th Land Use Board meeting for applications for which I could not participate. Vulcan use variances for a garage structure on 27.5 Pacific Avenue were approved unanimously. The next meeting will be on July 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Gubatose.
So I will thank the mayor for making tonight's meeting a little shorter because I'm not going to read a page that I had prepared to speak to about the budget. So therefore, I actually thought I would save us all a couple minutes. And I'm gonna save at least a minute and a half because of Kristen, I'm going to, Councilwoman Mahoney, I'm gonna make a quick comment about the budget. I like to say, you know, as everyone's heard me now a few times, definition of insanity. Thank you all for hearing me and understanding what we're all going through. But what most of you don't know is the axe is about to drop because the mayor did forward us an email a couple of weeks ago now, telling us that the DCA is ready to swoop in and begin fining the council, all of us, all 5 of us, $25 a day. I don't know if that will happen. I don't know when it will start, but it was contingent upon us introducing the budget tonight. And if we didn't, that was going to be the potential outcome. And I'm going to spare you the longer speech I had, but the most important thing I'd like you all to understand is, and I've been saying this for 3 months, we don't understand the budget. I have very serious concerns. I could describe them all now, but no one here, I'm sure, including the mayor, could answer my questions. And because of that, it's impossible for us as a council, at least certainly it's impossible for me as a person with a financial background to approve the budget. Not because I don't want to, not because I wouldn't like to stop having the same conversation every week. It's because I represent you guys. I represent the folks on Zoom. I represent everybody in town who's not in the meeting. If you're a taxpayer, I represent you. And you're counting on us to do the right thing. And the right thing is understand the budget before you approve it. The mayor will continue to tell the world that he's answered our questions. And the key is, please remember this. I said it last week, I'll say it again. We get responses. These responses are not answers. If you ask, why did this go up? Why did you move these dollars from here to here? And the answer is, let's talk about it in 2025. That's not an answer. it's a response, it's not an answer. So Councilwoman Mahoney, you motivated me to waste some more meeting time, but I wanted to make sure I did at least say that for the record. Thank you. I do have the rest of a report. The police report delivered to me like clockwork by Detective Lieutenant Browning. I'm gonna read it. It's actually a longer one tonight. Thank you, sir. Please remind, this is instruction to me, please remind all residents to remove their valuables from their motor vehicles. Do not leave the keys or key fob inside, and all capitals, please, please, please lock your car doors. I should have had you read this. We've had a recent rash of car burglaries. However, all the victim vehicles were unlocked at the time. Most of these crime sprees are committed by the same one or two individuals at a time, hitting multiple cars in a quick ride or walk through town. Patrols have been diligent, especially overnight, in making appropriate field contacts, and with their help, the Detective Bureau has developed some good suspects and are continuing the investigation in hopes of arresting someone soon. In other news, police arrested a subject for possession of drug paraphernalia and hindering apprehension after responding to the beachfront for a complaint of a subject attempting to sell items to passersby. The individual had provided a false name and was in possession of a crack pipe. Two local area juveniles, ages 14 and 15, were arrested and charged with theft. A resident viewed the two entering driveways and stealing bicycles and contacted the police. Beachfront special officers located the two juveniles who fled into Ocean Grove. With the assistance of patrols, detectives, and our police administration, including Chief Arnold, both juveniles were located and arrested without incident. On a side note, one of the juveniles has been identified by Asbury Park as a wanted person involved in an armed robbery, and we are assisting them with information pertaining to that investigation. A resident was arrested and charged with assault on police, resisting arrest, hindering apprehension, and obstructing the administration of law after police responded to a neighbor dispute over a parking issue. A Florida man was arrested and charged with hindering apprehension after providing a false identity to officers investigating a beach violation. Our K-9 officers were deployed to provide safety and security sweeps for the Bradley Beach fireworks display, which went smoothly. It was all hands on deck, and the operation itself was led by Detective Gregory Pansa, with the oversight of Chief Arnold and help from members of OEM, Bradley Beach Fire Department, and the Bradley Beach First Aid Squad. The Bradley Beach Police Department arrested two individuals on an active contempt of court warrants and investigated 9 motor vehicle accidents between June 21st, 2024 and July 9th, 2024. Wow, that was a busy couple of weeks. Thank you, sir. I am the liaison for the Sylvan Lake Commission. I just want to make everyone aware that we have a meeting next Wednesday, July 17th, 7 p.m. at the Biasi Center, right across the parking lot. The focus will be on improving the overall health of the lake. There will be a few guest speakers, including engineers that are engaged in building the living shoreline on the Avon side of the lake. The ultimate goal for the commission continues to be to dredge the lake and restore the lake's vitality. As most of you know, in most areas, the lake is about 1 foot to 2 feet deep, and its chances of long-term survival are nil unless we do something to actually dredge the lake. Local 152, I need to make a comment about this. I say the same thing more or less every meeting, and I'll continue to do so. Our workers in this union have gone without a contract for 1.5 years. The council receives virtually no information of value. We repeatedly have asked a seat at the table, hoping that a new perspective might help break the deadlock. We've already paid the lawyer handling the negotiations close to the amount that an annual increase might have been for the entire 30-person union. This broken process makes no sense. Mayor Fox, please allow any one of us on this council to join the discussions. I also want to thank the K-9 unit presentation today, both Patrolman Balladamente and Patrolman Redmond. It was a great presentation. I know we all enjoyed it. we should take great pride in what our Bradley Beach Police Department has accomplished in establishing this unit. This unit serves not only Bradley, but as you heard tonight, many other neighboring municipalities. And their work has been invaluable. It's so impressive every time I get a chance to speak to one of the officers. And I'm really psyched that they were able to join us tonight. Councilman Weber, you mentioned a lake rescue, but you didn't know more about it. I don't know, it could have been a human being, but I am aware that there was a Sylvan Lake rescue of a baby swan. I don't know that our fire department was involved, but that was pretty exciting about a week or so ago.
It's actually a dog
Oh, it was a dog?
that fell in the lake that was being walked by an older man, and the older man fell in and he had trouble getting out of the lake.
Wow.
No.
Okay, I was not aware of that. The police didn't inform me of that.
That's because it's in my
Fire.
first aid report.
And also, thanks to the mayor for bringing up the Brindley Inn fire of 1980. I don't have a report per se, but I was substituting at a meeting for Councilman Weber, who typically represents the fire department. And it was fascinating that back in 1980, many of you may or may not have been here at the time. I was not. But what I learned was there was a devastating fire, as the mayor mentioned, 24 lives lost in this fire. And a number of the fire department members present were there at the fire, 44 years ago. And the stories that they were sharing among themselves, for the audience, for me and other members of the department, was staggeringly intense. I truly couldn't believe it. I mean, they talked about how they had to enter, it was a blast fire. They had no time at all to do anything. People were just trapped and died. Bodies were melded together from the heat.
Oh, all right.
It was a horrible, horrible story. The reason I say it is because that incident led to dramatic changes in the laws in New Jersey to create greater protection for inns and boarding homes and things like that. So there is a movement underfoot. The discussion was, should we recognize this in a few months? The anniversary is around August or September of this event, 44 years ago. Should we try as a borough to recognize that event in the next few months? Or should they do it right, quote unquote, wait until the 45th year anniversary, which should be next year? And the decision was made to wait until next year, 45-year anniversary. And they're even anticipating perhaps having a small monument, something we could display it in Riley Park. So they're going to create a committee and work through a lot of the details. So that's a quick update on what's happening regarding the Brindley fire, but a scary episode in our history. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. The Board of Ed will have a meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. regarding their budget. It'll be in the auditorium. The Shade Tree Commission had a meeting July 3rd. They're scheduling the planting for the fall. It looks like the end of September. So if anyone would like a free tree, please go to bradleybeach.org and check out the application. You can also sponsor a tree as well. Their trust fund is $14,882. Tourism, their trust fund is now at $83,000, and they are proudly presenting tonight till 9 o'clock in Riley Park a tribute to the Beatles concert with the WAG group. And this Thursday, July 11th, Brookdale Community College and 90.5 The Night return to Newark Avenue Beach with their acclaimed singers and songwriters series. And they said join us from 7 to 9 p.m. And then this Saturday, July 19th, as the mayor mentioned, Pat Roddy will perform in Riley Park from 5 to 7 p.m. Again, the commission urges our residents and visitors to picnic in the park with some delicious and delightful local takeout. And that completes my report. Thank you very much.
Saturday's the 13th.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, did I say it the 13th?
You said the 19th.
Really? I should probably wear my glasses. It does say Saturday, July 13th. So, yeah. Okay, thank you for the correction.
Okay, public comments, 5-minute limit and single instance, please. Any public comments? Yes.
Mia Mullen, 302 4th Avenue. all of the reports are just very nice to hear. It's nice to know what's going on in town, but I think what's on people's minds is still the budget. It's an election year, so finances, inflation, all those things are top of mind. Thrilled about Riley Park, but at the same time, I'm like, what's going on with the budget? So Kristen, Kristen, she found $22,000 that she doesn't have the answer to. $222,000. And the whole time you were making that presentation with the numbers, and somebody was up here with their calculator, the mayor's head is down, not paying attention. It's a basic question. There's a number on one sheet and there's a number on another sheet. Why don't they match? I'm gonna stand here for 5 minutes.
You can stand here.
It's the first I've heard of that, and I'll.
That's
I'll
not
speak
true.
to
That's-
Councilman about
I
it.
know, 'cause she
That was the
said
very
she
first question I
presented it
had
before.
4 months ago.
So is it
You've
the
heard it
first-
many times.
Did she present it weeks ago, months ago?
You've told them that the funds don't equal to the budget.
Mr. Mayor, look at question number
I-
one
I
on
think-
my list. That was the question. Your team has responded 3 times to that question. We don't have an answer.
I urge the council at every meeting to just start asking your questions with the public, hearing your question the same way Kristen did. It needs to be out there in the open because it's being hidden right now. It is looked upon by the outside people, outside of this room, that council keeps voting down the budget. You're not voting down the budget, you're voting down
The introduction.
the introduction of a budget that you don't even understand. So the wording, and John just corrected me, is not right out there in the public. And the mayor is taking credit for having a budget. He's got it all zipped up and the council is voting it down. That is the perception in the public. Do you talk to your neighbors? This is what is going on out there. So I urge you at every single one of these meetings, just start doing what Kristen is doing. I wouldn't even talk about Riley Park and all the other beautiful things that are happening in this town. This is what's on people's minds. Everything gets paid for with the money that is missing or not in the budget or should be in the budget. So nothing else matters until we have a budget. We're all like at a standstill here. So I do urge you to do that. Just put it out there the way Kristen did. I thought that was, I commend you on doing it because people need examples of what's going on instead of I let them in, I didn't let them in. Well, what are the questions? We want to know the questions.
If only all the questions were that simple, though.
Well, no, that was a great example. I'm sure, because I wondered, I'm like, well, what questions are there? That seemed pretty basic to me, like somebody should be like, eye opener, right? And the union contract, I don't want to have signs on my lawn. How long am I gonna have to have that on my lawn? Another year and a half? I mean, really? It's a pain in the neck. Every time I'm on my own lawn, it's a pain in the neck. I want to take that sign off my lawn, but I also commend the people that are taking out my trash without a contract. That's amazing. And they're so good about it. Shame on you for not allowing council into that meeting, and we've wasted the money that could have went to the union people on fees for a consultant to do the negotiation. We need new blood in these meetings. A year and a half is a really long time. I come from the business side of the world, and sometimes you need to refresh what's going on in a meeting so we can get new ideas. Diversity, I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but it's very common. You need to hear other people speak, to hear the other side from another perspective. Hear from both sides from another perspective, instead of the same person that we keep saying, I don't know how it works, but we're paying somebody to go to these meetings, and that money's being wasted, when we could come to a resolution a lot quicker if there were more points of view.
Mayor, can I address one of the questions?
Which question?
May I address your question about the union contract?
Yeah, I mean, let me get that one.
I'm asking.
You have to ask the mayor for permission to answer.
Well,
This is
Mayor-
comments, this is
The
comments.
mayor runs the meeting, so you're asking a question and I'm just asking for permission. So I believe it's in August that it's scheduled that the union and that the Public Employee Relations Commission heard. So that decision was made a while ago, and I believe there's a date in August. To answer your question, how long you're gonna have that sign on your lawn?
That's only if the contract comes.
No, that was decided a while ago that that's where it's going, I believe. I don't know the August date, maybe the mayor knows, but.
Keep it on there for another year. Like, I appreciate you giving me a date.
But my understanding is that there's nothing happening in between now and whenever that meeting happens.
That's correct.
So
That's
that's
correct.
the answer. Simple.
The negotiation now is in the hands of the mediator and PERC and the two negotiating.
And that decision was made Wow.
That wasn't, yes, but that was not a decision that we made. It was because of the impasse, that's where they had to go.
Right, and so it's not like there's meetings happening and there's no progress, it's just that a while ago we decided we're going for, they're going for.
Yep. Thank you.
Fletcher Lake asphalt on the other side. John?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's on the bridge, so it's smoother
Oh,
to go off.
Oh,
The bridge.
Yeah.
all right, forgot about that.
Nancy Meadow, Ocean Park condominiums. First of all, to the four council people, you find $25 a day each. And I would imagine that there's a lot of other people here that would contribute.
Thank
I see a pattern. You weren't allowed to negotiate or talk to Public Works for their contract, not allowed to talk to the CFO. And somebody who likes to bully everyone else chooses not to force and allow that all to happen. That's not a pattern that I like. I would think that it would be in the best interest of residents of Bradley Beach if department heads do not take vacations, extended ones, during peak season. That happens in a lot of industries. There's blackout weeks. And since we're not privy to contracts, we don't even know how many weeks, months, sick days, bereavement days, family days people get, but it does seem to be a lot. I sent a letter to the mayor on April 15th. I'd like to remind everyone. I didn't get an answer, and in May, I was told by the mayor, we are working on it. I was never told who we is, and I don't understand how something can be worked on that I started in December about a non-registered rental, and here I still have no information. But the one employee who might be able to resolve it is now part-time. The one that is. Just makes you like wonder.
What, employee part-time, could you elaborate on that? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay, you're not cutting into my 5 minutes. You can discuss that with me after my 5
Fine.
minutes. In addition, words matter. And everything starts at the top. And when you lower the bar and low standards, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I got an email calling my locker disabled. I do not have a disabled locker. My locker functions. And if it doesn't function, Public Works fixes it. I am disabled, hence I get a locker. Words matter. We've also discussed skewing surveys. So the email wanted me to answer a survey of which there were 2 questions and 2 points for one item. That skews a survey. In addition, and I'm embarrassed to say this, that it should goes to quality of work that is acceptable in this borough. The word lessons was used. I had no idea what that word meant.
What word?
So lessons, read the letter. So I looked it up. Animal dung, that is in the dictionary. So the fact that I received this and it is allowed poor work quality, and you get mad when I pointed out, well, there's a reason you find poor work quality acceptable. You don't do your job, so other people that you employ don't do their jobs. And may I say, you are not their colleague, you are their boss. And the same way, department heads don't have colleagues, they have subordinates, support staff, whatever you'd like to call them. I still walk the boardwalk every day and find no resolution to separation of church and state. I'm tired of seeing biblical things on the boardwalk. And in addition, how do you limit it to one group? How do you, I don't understand. We could have the whole boardwalk covered with that. And that's not appropriate in my opinion. I don't understand. We've not been brought up about the flag that was removed by a fire department member who I'm going to say probably was a volunteer because it's a volunteer fire department. Since we're not privy to everything, and I know that you know, i's are not dotted and t's are not crossed. I requested that person be removed from duty. And, innocent until proven guilty, but when proved guilty, should not be allowed to work in our municipality or volunteer. I would extend it to the county and state, like I felt should have been done with the police department, but that didn't happen. It just gets worse and worse. And then to find, you know, Ms. DeNoble, you were denied freedom of speech. And then somebody posts on social network that it is the governing body holding up the contract with 152. Double standard as always.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, I'm Peter Stern, still at 301 Second Avenue. Let's see, I've been up here for the last couple meetings trying to get some help to identify the costs of the various legal excursions up in Freehold that are going to be paid or already been paid by the citizens of Bradley Beach. I guess at the last meeting, I was aware of just one of those costs, and I projected out to the fact that it could be as much as $40,000 that the citizens of Bradley Beach are going to have to swallow in these legal fees. Well, I'm wrong a lot, and I was wrong about that number too. It's much higher. I got some numbers, and it turns out the total fees that are payable by the people of Bradley Beach for the 3 trips to Freehold are $61,000. Wow, actually $61,436.73. So that's a lot. Let's take a minute to see how we got there. Round 1 started in May 24th of 2023, when the council introduced resolutions that attempted to both nominate and approve paid positions for the borough. That is clearly illegal. And I was surprised at that move because there was a contemporaneous article in the CoStar where 3 council people were quoted. One of the councilmen sitting at the front of the room right now likened the role of the Bradley Beach Council to that of the United States Congress, where in judicial nominations, they had the power to advise and consent, but not nominate. So that was a surprise to see the nomination resolutions occur. Another of the councilmen sitting at the front of the room right now went on to be quoted to say that they were just trying to bend the rules a little bit. Judge English disagreed with that characterization. And one of the councilwomen sitting at the front of the room right now was a little more circumspect in her comments, saying that with any new administration, it was not uncommon, the phrase that it's used, for when a new administration came in, that there would be a discussion between the mayor and the council members to talk about the paid positions. Personally, I think that's a good idea. I wish that had happened. But not uncommon does not mean the same thing as mandatory. And you can't pretend that Mayor Fox was outside the law because that didn't happen. It seems instead that the council was outside the law by trying to do these nominations and approvals on May 24th. The net effects of that visit to Freehold, I guess I should say that in fairness, that Mayor Fox felt compelled to bring a lawsuit to restore the rule of law to these proceedings. That cost the borough of Bradley Beach $14,504. Round 2 was similar in nature, where the council tried to pass a resolution to limit the mayor's appointment powers for temporary positions. Judge English decided again in Mayor Fox's favor. That cost the taxpayers of Bradley Beach $28,952.48. And thirdly and finally, there was the time that the council appeared in Freehold on the matter of the police chief. where they were told in the nicest possible way that you can't discipline an individual who's no longer an employee. And that appearance cost the taxpayers of Bradley Beach $9,453.25. So the bills are still coming in. There was a new one added, bringing the total cost to the $61,000 plus figure that I mentioned. That's a lot of money. Council people, I know you're frustrated. I hear it every time I come to these meetings. I think we understand the reasons why this administration has not worked out the way that you hoped. You'd hope for something a little more collaborative, something with a little bit of power sharing, information sharing, things like that. And frankly, I think there's a good, honest conversation to be had along those lines. But on this more narrow matter, I think you've let your frustration get the better of your judgment. And you have done things that are just not supported by the law. I'll wrap up by saying, my purpose in bringing this up is that I think once the costs of this have been identified, of this behavior, hopefully this behavior will stop. Please stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thomas J. Cohen, 612 Third Avenue. Mayor, I checked the town website because I like numbers. I like to look at numbers. I like to see how they work. Okay? So I go on the website to find the annual statements, the annual financial statements, AFS. There's no posted AFS for 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Today I did an Oprah request and I hope I'll get those documents tomorrow.
What years were they again? I'm sorry.
That was 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022.
That Oprah request was given to the CFO. I will have those documents for you by Friday.
Right, and will they be posted on the town website?
Yeah, I'll make sure, but what you're asking for is also in the audit report, so. Why they're not posted on the website, I don't know, and some of those are before my time.
It's not in the other report, it's AFS.
AFS is different.
Isn't that information also in the audit report though?
It feeds the audit report.
Okay,
So I don't understand, has the council seen in 2023 AFS?
No.
I haven't.
How can you do a budget if you haven't seen that annual financial statement for the previous year? Okay, I'm sorry to ask these questions, but it's getting very frustrating. I would like to address some of the things about the lawsuits. Again, I want to say, like, the first lawsuit was Larry Fox versus the borough. In that case, the money was spent, but Mayor Fox only won one of 4 items. Okay, in the second one, bear with me for just a second. In the second one, the mayor won one of 2 items. The other item was firing of Greg Cannon, which was illegal. But, you know, it's still Fox versus the borough of Bradley Beach. The council didn't sue anybody. And the whole incident with Chief Guida, who I think there's a lot of people in this room would say he should have been disciplined, would have never happened had Mayor Fox given the report before the 45 days. But Mayor Fox acted on his own in a back room to let Chief Guida retire, get his pension. I'm not saying he shouldn't have got his pension. I'm just saying, should have disciplined. You know, so I want to compliment the council for these laws, for attempting to work things. I gotta tell you, when there's a change, as the previous speaker had said, when there's a changeover, there's a sit down and you go over it, you know, you want this auditor, you want that prosecutor, let's just figure it out. But for some reason, the definition of advice and consent has been changed by Mayor Fox to rubber stamp. That's a quote, rubber stamp. It should be a rubber stamp. No, it's not. Okay, that's not how good government works, especially in a small town like this. It's getting more frustrating all the time to have this happen over and over. No one's listening. And by the way, the outside agencies have been all notified. No one's coming to help us. We're here to fight by ourselves. The comptroller's office hasn't done anything. The DCA local finance board hasn't done anything. The DCA local ethics board hasn't done anything. It's really getting absurd. I mean, the prosecutor's office isn't doing anything. We're gonna keep fighting. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Don Greenberg, Fruits Park Place, question about the July 4th celebration. Has the town looked into doing drone instead of fireworks? Fireworks are polluting. They, they scare dogs, people with PTSD. Is that something that you looked into? Compare pricing?
I actually looked into it. It's a lot more expensive.
Is it?
I'm hoping that the prices would go down, but it does look interesting and you put music to it, and I have a dog and I have to put her on trazodone that whole week because she's freaking out. And I know it is. We're in the ocean. We're at the ocean. We're throwing garbage into the ocean. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay. So just too pricey right now?
Right now, I'm gonna keep researching though and see what other boroughs are doing.
Number two, my locker wouldn't close, called the DPW today, this morning, about 3 hours later, I was informed it was fixed, so. Anyways, here, DPW, thank you very much, they were right on the job. What's that?
Get on it.
Oh, they're on Zoom. Hi, guys. Thanks a lot. And lastly, my wife and I are doing a big renovation of our house. We have these giant grasses out front that are going to go, and I'm wondering if the town can use them down on the beachfront. Talked to Larry back on the Shade Tree Commission. They didn't want to do anything with it, but I mean, these things are huge. They're like giant cousin-its. Right?
Yeah.
And I'd hate to, toss them, but they're gonna be too big for what we're doing. It's who would I talk to in the town? See if they can use them, dig them up, put them down at the beach or somewhere else.
Kind of grass.
What?
What kind of grass?
These big green natural grasses.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what that,
you would email the borough administrator.
okay, because I'd hate to see them go to waste.
Put it on Facebook too. People might want it.
Okay.
If,
I mean, there's literally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, they'd have to be native grasses, I think, to put at the beach. And,
Yeah, I don't know if they're native.
Yeah.
And I give you a better definition of how big they are, but I can't do that. So, that's all I got, thank you very much.
yeah.
Yes.
Tracy Davidson, 3044. I just wanted to make a comment. When Miss Mullen was up here and you were having that exchange and you told her to be careful, you had a similar exchange with Mr. Greenberg. Didn't tell him to be careful. As a woman who has gone to almost every meeting, that happens quite a bit. Women are gaggled, women are told to be careful. Men seem to get a pass. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that says about you. But you should acknowledge it and try to change that, okay? Because sitting here, it looks like you don't really respect or like women. And I'm gonna tell you, which I'm sure Mr. Gubitosi, Mr. Weber, Mr. Cannon, Lieutenant, there's nobody more dangerous than a smart woman. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Linda W. 312 Brittany, I just want to make a suggestion since nobody up here that's in administration has provided us with suggestions. Since we've had 7 council meetings since the budget workshop, it would have behooved the mayor to maybe have 2 or 3 more, since the slides that were up on the screen were taken down so abruptly, we couldn't even see what was up there. There was no data given to us to take home and digest. It was run very poorly, and it would be wonderful if we could have another budget workshop. Also, regarding local 152 contract, it almost seems, in my opinion, that you never wanted to settle the contract. It was, you had people at the table with no negotiating experience. That's not correct either. So maybe it can be settled before the August date. You can go back to the table. Also, I have a complaint. Sorry, this time. People are putting their yard brush in the streets because there's no pickup during the summer, taking up vital parking spaces all over town. And isn't there an ordinance against that? They're not supposed to be doing that. It's all over Brinley. There's big piles of leaves and sticks. I would think that the coding officer or maybe the supervisor of the DPW can ride around and leave notes in people's mailboxes. Do you think that could happen? Because we have a parking issue in this town. Mailbox, do you think that we can resolve that?
I'll talk to the code and DPW.
All right, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Regina McGuire, 610 from the ad. Mayor, did you or did you not ask us once to sit in the chair and wait to speak, or stand in the aisle and wait to speak to save some time? I did it during agenda comments, and I did it just now, and you picked everyone else before me. Just letting you know. Okay, and you just looked at Zoom while I was standing back there to see if there was someone on Zoom before me. You did that too. So,
I thought you were just standing back there.
well, I had my hand raised. I had my hand raised, so I was just standing back there scratching my armpit, like, come on. Don't be ridiculous. It's. So anyway, the reminder of the lawsuit money, $61,000 is a lot of money. And it's really sad that our mayor cannot collaborate with anyone and has to sue. It's sad that our BA cannot collaborate and had to become an intervener in that lawsuit and sue. It's sad that our former BA, Kim Humphrey, had to sue because she couldn't give us information on the budget, where $1 million went missing and COVID money is gone under her leadership when she was here. It's really sad that Lenny Guida's prosecutor report was held by the mayor, and he decided to sue the council because the council was trying to do their job. So $61,000, yeah, is a lot of money. It's a lot of money to add to the million. It's a lot of money to add to the 434,000. And it's pretty sad that our mayor can't work with anyone. So I think it's important to understand why that money is costing the JIF a lot, you know, it's costing the JIF a lot of money. Because, and our premiums can go up. Yeah, the taxpayers might have to pay higher premiums because of Mayor Fox's lawsuit bonanza going on, because with anyone. So, I also would like to just mention that the fireworks were beautiful and we just celebrated Independence Day. And the whole point of Independence Day is that when government tries to withhold our rights, the people are free to revolt and set up a new government. And being that the DCA doesn't want to do anything and the comptroller's office doesn't want to do anything, I agree that we have to get together and start fighting against this dictatorship that we are under. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Julie United, 605 North Avenue. Mr. Mayor, you've heard a lot of comments here tonight. Could you please look at me when I'm talking? I would appreciate that. Do you not think that you should be apologizing to Miss Mia Mullen tonight for your very rude and threatening comment? Because you have a tendency to do that to women. You've dismissed me a couple times here at the podium as well. Wouldn't it behoove you to apologize to her tonight in front of everybody? Or you just don't take accountability for your actions? Because it was really bad and it was disrespectful and completely condescending. You know, I don't understand why you even want to be mayor. I really don't. You refuse to share information with people. We have $222,000 missing from the budget. Why can't the CFO have a conversation with our council members, which you refuse to do? You know, you're always touting your J&J experience. Is this how you ran businesses? That you threatened people, you withheld information, you were disrespectful to people? CFO, who doesn't want to talk to council, guess what? Should be fired. He is an employee of this township. He doesn't get to call the shots. We, the stakeholders, pay his salary, just like you are an elected official beholden to the residents here. And you have such disdain for us. Do you think that we all like getting up here and talking like this, that we're constantly, we are frustrated. If you sat in these seats and ask questions over and over again. How would you react to this? How would you sit here and say, my tax dollars, I don't know where $1 million are. The 2022 audit is a debacle. People just ask simple questions. They are just dismissed. We're dismissed at every turn. Do you understand the frustration? This is not a private company. It's not like the company you used to work for. This is public service. And I'm sure you have to be tired of being called a dictator. Well, we're tired of it too. I have implored you since you became mayor. I shook your hand when you became mayor and asked and said, how can I help you? Because when you're successful, we're successful. And I didn't vote for you. But these 4 years, I've implored you over and over. How many times at these meetings, please work together as a team, but yet you don't. And you dismiss us, you ignore us, you don't look at us. You don't work with the council. You sue the council, and then we got people saying the council is costing all this money. It's because you refuse to work with anybody. You make hiring decisions of people who are not qualified. You held a police report. You've done all these things that you wonder why the public is going crazy. You know what? We're too small for this nonsense. We want it to stop. Everyone just wants a well-run town and a civil town where everybody is neighborly and where we're not overspending. And we're just, we're running this town like it should be. But yet you refuse to talk to anybody and you refuse to take accountability for your mishaps. And if anything tonight, apologize to Miss Mullen because it was really bad and it's disrespectful to the entire residents and as a woman. And look at me when I'm talking to you. For goodness sakes, look at us. You don't hear us. That's the problem. You don't hear anybody. You think you're right and you're the only one who has the answers to everything. And you've made a debacle out of this town. You've caused divisiveness and chaos. And I don't take any comfort in saying this, but I don't understand why you want to be mayor. I really don't. And the way you spoke to her shows the fact of the matter, you don't have the temperament to be in that seat. And you really do everybody a real big favor if you would resign, because this has gone on far too long and it's so bad for this town. And I do wish you well, but I just cannot believe your behavior anymore. It is just unbelievable. And you can't cut me off. I have 5 minutes.
Cutting you off.
You were getting ready to say thank you next. So again, take a deep breath, maybe just sit and really think about why do you want this job? Because the fact of the matter, we're a mess and we shouldn't be. This is a great town. And this nonsense has got to stop. We're all neighbors and we all just want what's best for each other in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. See anything on board? Okay, we will make a motion to move into executive session.
Second,
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
You're not Jason.
Yeah.